I want to tell you about a man who did everything right. He worked harder than anyone in the room. He sacrificed more than most people ever will. And the day his dream finally arrived, he lost it in under 60 seconds. Not because he failed, but because he refused. This is the story of Marcus. And by the time it's over, you'll never look at success the same way again. He didn't miss his daughter's first steps because he was careless. He missed them because he was on a call. That's who Marcus was. The kind of man who told himself sacrifice was love, just expressed in different currency. 80-hour weeks, birthdays attended but never present, a wife who had learned to stop waiting up. He wasn't chasing luxury. He was chasing arrival. That one moment where everything you gave away would finally make sense. And one Tuesday afternoon, it came. The CEO's call wasn't long. It didn't need to be. I want you to lead the international expansion. You've earned it. Marcus sat in his car for 20 minutes after the call ended, not moving, just breathing. A new title? A life-changing bonus? A seat at a table he had stared at from a distance for 12 years. That night, he sat at the edge of his bed while his family slept, bowed his head, and whispered the only prayer that felt honest. Thank you. Finally. But here's what nobody tells you about the door you've been chasing your whole life. Sometimes there's a reason it was locked. During the final pre-approval briefing, Marcus moved through the documents the way he always did, methodical, precise. Pages of projections, site approvals, environmental assessments for the new development in a rural region overseas. Everything looked polished, until a number didn't sit right. He went back. Then another number. He leaned closer. The environmental impact report, the water safety analysis. He followed the data to its source. And what he found wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a gap. It was a decision. Key safety data had been softened, real risks buried beneath careful language. Local water supply regulations quietly, deliberately bypassed. This has to be an error, he told himself. But men like Marcus, men who've spent a decade reading between lines, already knew when something wasn't an error. The next morning, he went to the one man he trusted, his mentor. The one who had shaped him, guided him, pulled him through the brutal years. He expected alarm. He got a sigh. Don't be a hero, Marcus. Everyone navigates gray areas, the man said, leaning back, measured and calm. That's not corruption. That's how the world actually functions. You don't reach this level by stopping every time a report isn't perfect. But the water supply, Marcus said slowly. This affects real families. His mentor's eyes didn't flinch. And your family will be affected if you throw this away, he paused. Sign the report, get inside, then fix things. That's how real change happens, slowly, from within, not by burning everything down at the door. It wasn't a bad argument. That was the terrifying part. Marcus spent the next 3 days carrying a weight he couldn't name. His coworkers weren't cruel. They were simply honest. If you don't sign it, someone else will. The project moves forward either way. You just lose your shot for nothing.
If you have watched this far, why not click on the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notification button so you'll get notified when I upload a new video. So let's continue with the story.
He sat alone each night, the unsigned report glowing on his laptop screen. He rehearsed the reasoning until it sounded almost noble. I'll be in the room. I'll have influence. I'll fix it from inside. Strategic, patient, mature. He almost believed it. But there was something quieter under all that reasoning, a voice that had nothing to do with strategy. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? The boardroom was still when he arrived. The CEO sat at the head, composed, expectant, already preparing to introduce Marcus as their new vice president. Board members flipped through documents with casual confidence. The report sat in front of him, a pen beside it. Marcus picked it up. For a moment, the whole room seemed to compress. The years of sacrifice, the faces of his children, the mortgage, the promise, the fear, everything he had worked for funneling into a single inch of air between a pen and a signature line. Then he set it down. "I can't verify this report," he said quietly. "It's not accurate." The words didn't echo. They fell. The CEO's smile didn't disappear. It tightened. "Marcus, this isn't the moment for doubt." "It's not doubt," Marcus replied. His voice was steady. His hands weren't. "The data is wrong, and I won't sign it." A silence unlike any he'd sat in before. And then, not with anger, not with drama, the CEO simply said, "Then we can't move forward with you. Clear your desk today." 12 years. One sentence. Marcus nodded. No argument. No defense. No last plea. Just a man choosing something invisible over everything visible. The weeks that followed were not cinematic. There was no dramatic music, no admiring colleagues pulling him aside to say he'd done the right thing. His phone grew quiet. Emails went gray. Interviews he'd expected to glide through began to dissolve. Word had traveled through the industry that Marcus was difficult. He sat at home more than he had ever had in his adult life. And in that unfamiliar quiet, the questions came. Why, God? I did what was right. So why does it feel like I'm the one being punished? One evening he opened his laptop and saw the headlines. His former company celebrating, the expansion launching with fanfare, promotions announced, applause. Colleagues he once sat beside, now standing exactly where he was supposed to be. He closed the screen slowly, and something inside him ached. But not everything, because in that same silence, the one he had been running from his whole career, something else began to surface. Peace. Not the peace of resolution, not the peace of vindication, just presence. He noticed his daughter calling for him from the other room, and he went. No deadline pulling him back, no call to get to. Just her. He sat at dinner and laughed, really laughed, not the performed laugh of a man mentally elsewhere. He slept. Deeply. Fully. For the first time in years. The weight he had carried, of pressure, of becoming someone he wasn't in order to arrive somewhere, had lifted. And he hadn't even known how heavy it was until it was gone. Months later, the opportunity that found him didn't look much. A small nonprofit consultancy, no prestigious title, no life-changing bonus. Just a director across a modest desk who said, "We heard why you left. We don't have much, but we need someone we can trust." Marcus started the following Monday. The office was quiet, the work was unglamorous, but every report was honest. Every night his conscience was at rest. He had almost forgotten what that felt like. Then, one morning, the news broke. The company, the expansion, the water report. Investigations opened, lawsuits filed, regulatory bodies involved. The scandal shook the firm to its foundation, and at the center of it all was the same report Marcus had refused to sign. He read the headlines in silence. Not with satisfaction. Not with pride. With something sobering and quiet. The kind of feeling that has no name except grace. It could have been my name on that report. My signature. My burden. He looked up from the screen. Sunlight fell across a desk that carried no hidden clauses, no silent compromises, no secrets folded into the fine print. just truth. He exhaled slowly, a breath that felt like it had been held for years. He had lost the title, the wealth, the recognition, the arrival he had sacrificed so much to reach. But he was still himself, and standing there, in that quiet office, on an ordinary morning that nobody would ever make a film about, he finally understood what he had actually been building toward all along. Not the seat at the table, not the title, not the bonus, the man in the mirror. Some opportunities are doors to walk through. They are tests to walk away from. And the ones who walk away, they're not the ones who lost. They're the ones who refuse to be bought. Marcus never made the news. Nobody wrote about him. There was no viral moment, no applause, no reward. He just went home, put his kids to bed, and slept. And sometimes that's the whole story. Not every act of courage gets witnessed. Not every right decision gets rewarded. Not every good man gets the ending the world says he deserves.
Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Ensure you do well to like, subscribe, and share this video to your loved ones. Thanks.